What's up, YouTube? It's Leah Cooper. I'm coming to you from my spare bedroom just so that I can record this audio because my husband is in the main room working from home right now. It's Friday, which is my day off, and it's the day that I'm going to be focusing on errands, tasks, chores around the house that I need to get done, but also the day that I'm going to be dedicating to doing some real writing. So I took a couple of years off, basically from BookTube and then also from writing books. I've been working as a pastry chef and a cook. I ran my own vegan bakery out of a commissary kitchen. I was selling at farmers markets for a year, got extremely burnt out, and then we had the opportunity to buy a house, which is where I'm filming from. And when we did that, when we found this house, I decided to stop selling at the farmers markets and get a real job. So I went back to working at the co-op where I work now, and it's a really good job. It is way less stress than any of the other cook slash pastry chef jobs I've had, and it has allowed me to take this last year to recover from aggressive burnout and do things like start reading again. Hence why I'm coming back to this channel, because I actually read now. For the last year and a half, I've been consistently reading. Not as much as I used to. Like you may have seen on my recent What I Read Last Year videos, I only read like 28, 29 actually. I did finish the Judith Butler. I only read 29 books last year, but that's still very good, I think, especially for someone who works full time and has a lot of other hobbies. In addition to reading more, I've also started writing again. So in September of this year, I went ahead and challenged myself to try to finish writing Profane 3, which was the novel I was working on right before I moved to Illinois. I don't know if I ever really talked about it in my videos leading up to the move, but I got a huge chunk of the book written and then I just hit a wall. The move was such a life disruption. I did not make much progress in it. In the last 4 years, I've repeatedly gone through trying to edit it so that I can refresh myself on everything that had happened in the book so I could finish writing it. Never really got very far. I would attribute a lot of that to the burnout from being on a minimum wage grind treadmill. But in September of this past year, I felt really inspired. Like I said, I had been recovering from the burnout, which just kills you creatively. And I finished writing the draft over the course of like the second half of September and the first half of October. Since then, though, things got really busy with Christmas and Thanksgiving and the holidays. Thanksgiving at my work is the busiest time of year. We do so much work in Thanksgiving, so much prepared food we sell that we have to make, and so I didn't have a lot of time. I was working until 5:30. Context, I'm only scheduled to work till 4, so I was working easily 1 to 2 hours past the end of my end time most days at work. That's over. We're now in our slower season, so I am taking Fridays now to dedicate to writing. And the first thing I have to do is edit Profane. So going forward, I would really like to do kind of like hang out with me, day in my life, writer vlogs, maybe a little bit of productivity if you want to put me on in the background, and we'll chit chat periodically. I'll show you a little bit about my creative process as I am trying to get back into a regular creative process. My goal for 2026, since Profane 3 is nearly finished, my goal is to finish the edit and get that published by the end of January. And then I want to write one other book this year. I haven't decided what that book is going to be. It could be Profane 4. There's now a Profane 4 because I was writing 3 and I realized the reason I've been stuck on this book is because it's not the end. I need one more book. The story is bigger than it was initially planned out to be. It could be that. It could be one of several other projects that I've started. For instance, I have a 5th novella in the Kingdom of Pakia series that I was writing back in 2022. That is about halfway done. And that was a really fun adventure romance fantasy novel. I could work on that. I also have a couple of unrelated, they're not in any previously published series, books kind of in progress, or I've got like the ideas of them percolating in my head. Could work on one of those. I also have 2 books that were previously published by 9 Star Press, which is a small indie queer publisher. I have received the rights back. I actually got the rights back to both books a couple of years ago. I need to do my own edits so that I can re-release those under my own personal label. I could work on those 2 projects, both of which were starts in series. The Dead Days, which was my like necromancer paranormal story, was basically supposed to be a duology. And then my FF sci-fi AI werewolf lesbian romance Essex Colony was the start of a 3 or 4 book novella series. So I could work on those 2 projects. I haven't really decided. I don't need to decide. The thing I need to work on is Profane 3. So we're getting a late start today on this vlog. And it kind of sucks that I'm having to film this in here because I'm not going to work in here. My office is over there, but my husband works from home and he is working and he's on a work call right now. And I don't want to be chit-chatting, you know, in the same room as him, but that's where my computer is. We're getting an early start. It's just after 1 o'clock here. I have spent the whole morning. I did laundry first thing. Woohoo. I got to get that out of the basement because that's where it's drying. It's dried. I need to bring it upstairs. Did that. I have had 3 different contractors come by today. One of them was taking samples to get tested for asbestos. One of them was a mason looking at our foundation because we have one corner in our basement foundation that looks real bad and we're going to have to get that replaced. So we're getting an estimate for that. And then I also had to have, he sent another guy over who's just a general contractor who's going to come in and jack up that corner of the house so that the issue doesn't get worse. And then so they also can come in and then later do the work. So that guy came in so he could take measurements and then get me the quote for the jacking. So that has been my entire morning. I also did finish reading my first book of the year, which was very good. I finished reading There Is No Place for Us. It's a piece of nonfiction that came out in 2025. And it's basically an ethnography following 5 families in Atlanta, Georgia between 2018 to 2021, and it's, or 2022-ish. And it's specifically talking about the homelessness epidemic that happens for people who work. These are like all people who were working full time and lost their jobs and just fell into homelessness and then spent the next years, many years, trying to claw their way out of homelessness, and then the pandemic happening, and just the cycle of homelessness that happens even for people, for actually a lot of people who actively have jobs, who are full-time employees, and who cannot get stable housing. Anyway, it's a really good book. You can find it on my Goodreads. I'll link to it down below in the description if you're interested. Highly recommend. I think it's also very well written. It's very narratively written, like an ethnography, with lots of facts and details woven into each family's story. So it was very educational, very heartbreaking. It was giving me a lot of anxiety while I read it, but it's also one of those things where it's like, it's a very important, pertinent topic as we continue to see the cost of living, rents, inflation skyrocket astronomically in this post-capitalist hellscape that we're living in. Anyway, so yeah, that's what I've been doing this morning. Finished that, started my next book. Don't have any thoughts on the next book because I haven't gotten very far, while escorting lots of strange random dudes down into my basement so that they can see the horror show that is down there. But let's shift gears into something more fun, more creative. right. Good morning, YouTube. We're gonna try this vlogging thing as a part of this channel going forward, where I talk more about my writing, talk more about my writing process, and this is gonna be part of my work to rebuild a good writing routine, because I have not had one since 2021, basically since I moved. So this morning is Thursday, like I mentioned. I took today off from work. It is the last Thursday of January, specifically because I am right at the tail end of editing Profane 3 and formatting it for publication. My publication goal for myself is February 1st. I think that's Sunday. So that gives me a 3-day weekend to do all the finalizing bits, and that's what we're going to be working on today. I've got breakfast going, making a Dutch baby since I have time. I'm on my 1.5 cups of coffee this morning. Nothing fancy. We alternate. We'll get a bag of cheap coffee one week, and then we get a bag of fancy coffee the next week. This week we're on cheap coffee, so we're drinking Seattle's best. The taste of the Pacific Northwest out here in the Midwest. Anyway, it's not that bad though. It's the light roast, so it's drinkable. It's pretty good, especially for like $5.99 a 12-ounce bag. Anyway, you don't care about that. Okay, so we got that going. I actually need to set a timer. Let me set a timer real fast. Okay, so the Dutch baby is going to be about 30 minutes to finish. Goals for writing today. So the one issue, this is the one thing I've been struggling with, and you'll see this. You'll see my entire house is messy. I'm a death piler, and I work full time, and I hate cleaning, so like there's clutter everywhere, and it's not the cleanest, but I just try to stay on top of things. Okay, so my main room right here. Behind me is the dining room. We don't really use it as a dining room, and then it's an open floor plan into the living room, and me and my husband have both of our desks in the living room for the event where we play video games together. That way we can like actually play them together. The downside is he works full-time remotely from home, and today is one of his work days. Friday, you know, the day I went to do my day in the life other vlogs, he also works full-time, and so he's gonna be out there. He's usually on a Zoom call all day, so it makes it very difficult for me to film and talk, right? Like both of those things are inhibited. So we're gonna see how it goes. I might end up having to do a lot of this in voiceover, I don't know. But on the docket today, we are going to be working on rewriting and finessing about 3 scenes. So there are 2 action scenes that I need to, well, one of them needs to be fleshed out. The like core action is fine, but I need to write in a little bit more like character internalization to like ground the scene. The other action scene, I do want to go ahead. I've been thinking more and talking to my husband more, because I've been reading this book to him in its entirety to get feedback on it. And I don't like the way the action unfolds. So like all the action in that scene, in the middle at least, basically needs to be rewritten, because I just want the scene to go in a different direction. So I got to work on that. Then I have one other scene that we had talked about me rewriting the focus of it, and then I kind of did that, and it didn't work. So and then in the process of talking about how it didn't work, we realized like, oh, I should really actually pare this scene back. So I need to go in and I need to like, there's like one through line of dialogue in that just needs to get axed, and it's scattered throughout like one topic. And then I just need to tighten the whole scene up. So we need to do those 3 scene edits. I also have about, is it like 30 pages? I've been editing on hard copy and then putting those edits into Scrivener. So I think I have about 30 pages on the hard copy that need to go into Scrivener. I still have 10 pages on the hard copy to edit. That's what I'm going to do tonight. If I can get through the scene rewrites and at least like 20 pages on the hard copy, I think that would be a really good, I think that will be a really good place to get to today. If I can get to all 3 of those scene rewrites and get all 30 pages in the hard copy put in, that would be amazing. But that'll be a really tough push to get through, because it usually takes me about 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours, just to do like 40 pages on the hard copy edit. So like that alone, the 30 pages on the hard copy alone is almost a full day's work. So we're gonna see what we can get done. The other plans for this weekend working on this book are to work on the paperback edition. I haven't started that at all. I do have a format from when I did the formatting for books 1 and 2 in this series. This is the third book in a series. So the hard work has been done, but like the tedious work of clearing the old, like actually getting the story in, that needs to be done. But I need to wait until the edit is finalized. So we'll see if I get to the paperback formatting on Friday or Saturday. I'm betting Saturday. Friday's probably going to be like finishing edits, tweaking final things, doing another pass through real fast for last minute typos that I've missed, and then formatting the ebook versions and writing the blurb. That's the other thing I have to do. I have to write the blurb. So anyway, we've got 15, no, this Dutch baby's got like a total of 30 more minutes in the oven. So let's go sit down at the desk and get a little bit of editing done. This is where you can see my really messy house. And yes, I do still have my Christmas tree up, even though it's January. I'm gonna take the Christmas tree down this week, okay? I swear. We're going to talk quietly and try not to disturb that thing back there. That's about 20 minutes of editing done. I stopped in the middle of it to eat breakfast, which was delicious. I love a Dutch baby. That was so frustrating. Okay, I think we're gonna walk into this other room so that I can actually talk without disturbing DT. Oh, that was really frustrating. So basically, I took a break from, I'll take my headphones off. I took a break from editing. Sorry for the lighting, it's kind of dark. Anyway, so I took a break from editing and then I came back and I wanted to do some work, but I didn't feel exactly like jumping right into editing. So I was like, you know, let's do something else that is productive. We'll start working on that print edition. It has been 10 years since I made a print edition and I never made a ton of them. I've only done three print editions in my entire career. I do know how to use InDesign. I do own InDesign. But my experience with InDesign is from literally 20 years ago. Okay, so I was like, that's fine. I'll just use the formatting for this series that I already set up and I'll just like take out all the words and I'll just put in the new words and I'll go chapter by chapter. And I was doing that and then I realized that it was overwriting any italics or special formatting I had from Scrivener. Like the copy paste doesn't work. And then I had to do some Googling and that sent me down like a weird rabbit hole with gleps. Gleps? Is that what they were called? I don't know. And then I was like searching around on my computer looking for files. I was like, did I compile the book as a document and then import it as a docx document to Scrivener? I can't find any evidence of this. And then I was like, did I just lose any italics I had? Did I go back and manually put in italics for the last 3 books? Like, I have no recollection of what I did. And then I've wasted like an hour of time trying to get this, well, like working on a thing, realizing what I'm creating is not correct, is useless, is unusable, right? Scrapping that, then trying to figure out how to do it so that I don't have to go in and manually do all the italics, because that's just asking to lose an italic somewhere. And it's now, I think it's 10:30 or it's 10:45. I feel very frustrated because obviously I've wasted a lot of the morning trying to work on this. This was just supposed to be like, oh, this will be my little side project I do in between rounds of editing so that I'm like getting another thing done. And it's all pointless and my brain feels tired in like a really old way. There's something really weird that happens when you're 30 and like you remember being in your teens, you remember being in your 20s and having a really flexible brain where it's like really easy to pick things up. You just like held a lot of like information in your brain and it was like easy to pull at it or like to summon whatever thing you needed. But now suddenly it's like your brain has lost that elasticity that you remember being so close at hand, and you remember doing things or having done things, but like you can't remember how you did them because it's been too long since you did them and you've like lost the information. And it's just, so now you have to relearn how to do it and you're tired and you don't have a lot of time because you're an adult and you have, you only have these couple of days to get this thing done and you don't really want to spend a lot of time relearning the skill. You wish you still just could remember it because you had it at one point. So that's where I'm at. And I need to just table this whole print edition for right now. I'll work on it on like Saturday because it's not important. It really is not. I've sold 5 print copies between 2 books my entire life, entire career, right? Like it is not a format that sells, but I do want to make it so I have the whole thing, right? But it's not the important part. The important part is the editing. So I'm going to go back in there. I got a hot cup of coffee. It's like 4th cup of coffee I've had today. And I'm going to start doing inputs into Scrivener. So I'm on page 181 of 219 on this manuscript. I'm going to get the next chapter done. And then we'll see where we're at. Let's go do that. I'm also going to charge this camera battery
because it's dying, because all my camera batteries are old and they suck and they don't hold a charge very well anymore. Fun. All right, we are back at my messy desk for this check-in. I tried to film this twice earlier and my camera battery just straight up died. I made some lunch a couple of hours ago. It's now like 4:30, so I made some lunch. I think I inserted a picture of that, and then I got to work rewriting this scene. So I have 3 major scenes, like I said, that I wanted to get done today. Did one straight away this morning, worked through the paper edit. By paper edit, I mean like literally I have this edit, I'm going through the pages. Worked through that till I hit another one of the scenes I needed to rewrite. This was the one that's like a big action scene that needed a lot of tweaking. Like I was changing the whole scope of how the action went about. That took a while. I think I spent like an hour and a half working on this. I added 1,000 words to the draft. I probably added more because that also includes all the words that I deleted in other parts of the draft today. But net, it's been a 1,000 word increase. And I'm done with that rewrite for now. I also finished getting to the end of the chapter in the hard copy. So we're on chapter 29, I think, out of 32. We're on page 196 out of 219 total printed pages. Really close to the end. This is how much I have left that is edited on the hard copy that I can put into Scrivener. So I'm going to keep working my way through this. Ironically, this next scene, like I just glanced at it, this is also a scene that needs to be rewritten. Like this is scene 3. This one is mostly good, but I need to like weave in some more like internalization. That was like the editing note I got for this. So I guess we're just gonna bite the bullet and start working on this next. We'll see how far we get. Basically, my plan is to keep working on this until my husband gets off work, which could be anytime in the next 15 minutes to 2 hours. So yeah, day in the life of a writer on a deadline is a whole lot of sitting in my chair and actually just trying to force myself to stay in my chair, because that's the thing my brain doesn't want to do. I keep getting up, like I've had 2 cups of tea, I ate a scone after I ate lunch, like I'm just like snacking on things, I'm walking around, I'm going off to sit and read like 5 pages of the Wheel of Time and then force myself to get back to my desk because I'm on a deadline. Not going to let myself get too distracted by talking to you. I am going to record more footage of me working through this next scene.
So as you can see, I had a ton of audio issues where I had shitty audio, and the next clip I recorded after this, the audio was terrible and I cannot fix it. And then today I recorded a kind of wrap up and it didn't record any audio. So basically, I finished rewriting all of those scenes. I got all the hard copy pages put into Scrivener. I finished editing the last 10 pages of the hard copy last night. I woke up really early this morning. I got those put into Scrivener. I did another pass on those rewritten scenes, and now I am currently reading those once again for my husband to get a last look or another set of eyes and ears on them. He has really liked 2 of the 3 scenes. I'm going to read the 3rd scene later on tonight. But basically, the edit is done. I'm just doing a few final cleanups. I wrote the blurb today, which got a laugh from my husband, which I think is a good sign. And I should be working on the file compiles and uploading everything to KDP tomorrow and publishing. So this time next week, when I do another Friday vlog, I might have some updates on how the launch went.
I haven't published a book in 6 years. And now I'm out of footage, so maybe I'll loop something. But I haven't published a book in 6 years. I don't think anyone who used to read me even still reads me or knows I exist. I don't know where to market this anymore because the last time I launched a book, most of my followers, I think, were on my mailing list and Twitter doesn't exist anymore. I don't know where my author platform should be. I have a Facebook, I have a website, I have a Blue Sky, but I don't use Blue Sky the way I used to use Twitter. I don't know if I have the spoons to use Blue Sky the way I used to use Twitter. I kind of want YouTube and my website and maybe Facebook to be kind of my author landing pages. I don't know if those are good places for this, but that's what I'm going to try, at least for now. If you are an indie author, especially if you're in the SFF and queer indie spaces, let me know down below, where do the authors like to hang out? Because I'm not really certain anymore. I am not going to do TikTok. I always used to pride myself on being like an early adopter of technology and social media and platforms, but I can't do Twitter. It's a hard no for me. So, these are thoughts I'm having as I am working to get back into writing, as I am working to publish again. And I don't have answers for all of these, but stick around and maybe we'll discover some stuff together. I don't know. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been a very productive Thursday, Friday, technically 2 Fridays. Have a good night.